What's up, guys? This is Eric from Wasteland. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I actually forgot I set it for 4:20 because I was kind of doing it as a joke. Like 4:20, instead of 4:30. So I'm like, all right, 4:30 coming right up. And then I'm like, oh, I said 4:20. Let me know if you can hear me because I'm using the snowball mic again. What's up, Lady T? I'm going to try to boost. See if that makes it sound better. Is that louder? Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. If you have any questions, always shoot them in the chat. There's not a whole lot of people here, so I will see it. But if there's a ton of people here, super chat's always a surefire way to make sure I get to see your message. That's what it's there for. Don't have a whole lot of specific stuff to go over today. I am going to go over briefly, because I'm going to make a video about it soon, so I don't want to give away all my secrets. But I'm going to go over the trauma kit that I have in my car as part, and I have other stuff in the car too, and I'll go over that more in a future video. But if you guys have any questions, throw them up on there, and I'll get to it. That's why in the picture I had this neck brace, because it's one of the things that I put in my car kit. You want to be careful, though, because if you really don't want to mess around with someone's neck, if you think they have a very serious neck injury, I mean, you might be able to just loosely put this here so it doesn't move too much, but you don't want to be bouncing their head around after a car accident or something like that, because they could have some kind of internal decapitation or a serious neck injury. So you could use this to simply stabilize it, just if they're laying on the ground, or in the car seat, just put it like that and leave it till the paramedics get there, just to keep them from accidentally being jostled or turning their head. But the reason I have that out is because I have this cool little bag, which I got from one of the battle boxes, I believe. And it's fantastic. I love this bag, but it's a little too small for all the stuff I had for the trauma kit. Because I have this thing, or not for trauma kit. Some of it's just regular first aid kit. Some of it's, toiletry type supplies, but a little bit too much just to all fit in that little bag. What's up, DD Prepper, Kenzie, William McClaskey, Lady T? Woo, my volume is set up pretty high. So we will turn that off so you guys don't have to hear noises. And let me know if you can still hear me okay. And yeah, so I had this in there. I also had these are things that I have in my car but won't actually fit in the quote-unquote trauma kit. But they're for usually less important things. I have a chemical cold compress. Thing's old. I don't even know if it would work. I have some Go towels, camp towels, some emergency toilet paper rolls. These are unique too. They're Johnny on the Go portable unisex urinals, and it has a gel inside that kind of absorbs it, gets rid of odor, and also allows it so you don't just have like a bag of fluid. It'll turn more into like a gel. So 4 of them in there. If you just can't get out of the car or something, you're trapped in a blizzard, whatever. A couple N95 masks. Those are also good. There doesn't necessarily have to be any sort of pandemic or, airborne disease, but if you're doing rendering first aid, and someone's coughing up bloody sputum all over you, you might want to have some of these eye protection and some of the masks too. That also would help out in any sort of like pandemic situation if you get caught out, or sort of smoke even. Might not do a whole lot for things like smoke, but it'll be better than nothing. What about outbreak in Africa? Your thoughts on it? I mean, it's pretty crazy. I think it's going to be mostly confined there. We even saw in the outbreak a few years ago that it was very rare for it to spread too far outside of the country. They do a pretty good job of quarantining people once they've been infected. So that's good. Are you going to SHOT Show? I wasn't planning on it, but I might. When I visited Toronto, I forgot to blanket cover my kit, and someone busted the window and walked off with it. Yep, exactly. That'll happen. When I was on a cross-country road trip. It was about 3 weeks long, and at the very end, we were going from North Carolina all the way up to Portland and Seattle, and we had about an hour to go, 2 hours before we had to leave to go to the airport, and we were in Seattle. So we parked on a busy downtown street and just got out and walked around for like 45 minutes just to check it out. This wasn't the slums or anything. This was just like literally downtown, bank buildings and everything. We come back and the window's been smashed out of the car and all our bags are pulled out. There's 3 of us there. One of the guys who was actually moving out there, That's why we did the road trip. Had his bags in the trunk, so his stuff was safe. But the other two of us had our bags in the back seat because we were just getting ready to go to the airport and everything. I had to go through the airport with like a plastic Walmart bag and just the clothes I had on my body. Lost my laptop, camera, all, underwear, clothing, everything I took with me on that trip. Really, really annoying. Fucking hobos stole my stuff. Patriots in the Wasteland, sir. Are they winning? Last I checked, they were up. I heard the Saints I wasn't watching the games, but I heard the Saints got pretty royally boned by some call. I didn't know what the call was. Was it pass interference or something? They showed a picture of this, or like a targeting maybe. They showed a picture of some sort of weird looking tackle, but I couldn't tell what it was, and I wasn't watching the game. But I like the Patriots. I like to see winners win, set some more records. So that's fine with me. But I'm not some diehard Patriots fan. So this is a little bag I have. I slapped it on here. I'm going to eventually get a sticker that has the I can't think of words today. The little plus to indicate that it is a first aid kit. That way, if I'm incapacitated, someone else can see this and realize that there's first aid supplies in there. Or if I get a little bit flustered, even maybe in a stressful situation, I'm looking around at the various bags I have. Bam, it's right there. I locked down everything here in Vegas. Nice. Yeah, in Vegas, it's you got. But then normally this was interesting because when we were just for the whole road trip, you know, obviously I'm aware of things getting stolen. This was literally just because we were on the way to the airport, so we had all our bags in the car. There was no room for them all to go in the trunk. And one thing I will carry in the future, which I think I even had with me, interestingly enough, is there is some carabiners you can get that have a combo lock on them, built into them. And they also have a thin steel cable. So they're sort of like a bike lock, but a much smaller version of that. And you can at the very least loop it through a couple straps on your bag and around the base of the chair in your car if you have to put something in the back seat. But put it on the ground, maybe even throw a plastic bag over it so it looks like garbage or a blanket or something like that so they can't tell that it's a really big backpack. And then at the very least, they can't just smash the window and pull it out. If they had a knife, sure, they could cut all the various handles off if it's a canvas bag like this. But they're not usually prepared to do that. And if they realize that everyone's watching them try to steal this bag out of a car, they're probably going to leave it and run away after about 10 or 20 seconds of grabbing at it. At least gives you an extra chance, and those carabiners are like $10. And then if your car already has its window blasted out, people probably aren't going to go up there and thinking they could get something. So let me see if I can find one of those. I don't think I have it in here. I just have a thing of regular carabiners, but I think I have the one with the cable already out. But they're interesting. I'll put a link to those in the description after this video is completed. But yeah, so this is the kit right here. Like I said, the bag itself came from BattleBox. And a few of these other things came from BattleBox as well, including this pouch with some latex gloves in it, orange. I like that everything matches orange on the outside. And when you open that bag, so then you can just pull the gloves out individually through that. You can dump them all in there. I obviously have the shears. These are good for, you can cut a seatbelt with these if someone's clothes is in the way, you know, if they have a leg wound or something, you need to cut their jeans off. Any sort of straps or bags or anything that they're tied up in are pretty good scissors. I wonder if there's a tracker gadget to attach inside your bag so if it did get stolen, you can track it down. Yeah, Kanzi, there's actually a lot of products like that these days. Everything from GPS trackers that are about the size of a thumb drive to things that are like a little quarter. You could even just stuff it in the bottom of a pocket or sew it inside somewhere, you know, where it's easy to get out in case you need to recharge the batteries and whatnot. And that's definitely an option. This was about 2012 or 2013 when I took this trip, so there weren't as many options back then, but that's definitely an option now. Pretty cool stuff. You can put a spare cell phone to the yeah, you don't even need to get a cell phone. They actually have the little tracker programs that you can get it. They're cheaper. That's awesome that you tracked some guy down and found it. That's awesome. I love that stuff. On the other side of the kit here, I have another orange knife and the Molly webbing. This was from BattleBox as well. This is like, I think the brand was called Fox. It's the Fox ERT. stubby little knife that has screwdriver here, Phillips head here, bottle opener, and obviously a little bit of serrated blade. Decently thick, high-vis handle with a lanyard hole, liner lock. Then I have a pen flashlight here. I think this is a door fire. So you can see what you're doing. Check and see if people are brain damaged. All sorts of stuff. Exactly. Good for finding in the dark. On the top, try to hold this up and I guess we can see it. On the top portion here, I have two different tourniquets and some little band-aids in here. So these are the most important thing in the kit here. Something you'd want to be able to get to really quickly is tourniquets. Don't want to have to dig around in your bag because if you need a tourniquet, it's an urgent issue. This one is the rubber band style one that I demonstrated, I believe, in the video for the review of Panic in Year Zero, where you mark your different compartments of your FAC first aid kit. I wasn't planning on it, but it's not a bad idea to do that if you can get individual patches and things like that. And this is the stat tourniquet that was from the latest battle box, and it is like a zip tie, or yeah, pretty much like a giant zip tie. So that's pretty easy for people to figure out. Both of these are fairly simple to use. And of course, there's other options like the military style that has the stick that you can turn. Those are pretty reliable, but they might take untrained people a little bit longer to figure out than either of these. And since this kit is mostly, the philosophy of use, so to speak, is mostly literal first aid, like I'm just on scene at some sort of car accident or something that happened in normal day-to-day life, and I'm literally the first person there to render aid, and someone's bleeding out or something. Certainly it would work in a shit the fan scenario as well, but that's not the primary purpose for this. It's not my main bug out bag. This is just something that's always in the car when I'm driving around. I have a small plastic tote that is not see-through with first aid supplies, going to transfer to a small duffel. Yeah, I like the duffel bags too because I've had supplies and totes in the car before, and the lids sometimes come off or they get cracked from moving around. And if you have to put a lot of other stuff in your trunk or in your car for whatever reason, it's a lot easier to find different places to put a soft bag like a duffel bag than it is a tote. The totes are rigid. They don't fit in very many different configurations. If you need to move a duffel bag, you can stuff it up back behind the, in the window. You can stuff it under the chairs and the seat or move it around in the trunk. The totes are a lot harder to do that. Is the feed buffering every 3 words or is it just me? Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell. Some of the other viewers will have to let you know about that one. William says, mark it with a Sharpie. You could do that, but then you're kind of stuck with what you have in those pockets. So I'd rather stick to something that I can change depending on how I decide to load the individual pockets. Color coding on zippers is another good thing. You have to remember what they mean, though. Won't help other people who've never used your bag before. So, okay, so now we're going to go into the front pocket here. This is Israeli bandages. I just have 3 different Israeli bandages, 2 different sizes, the smaller size and 2 of the bigger size. Again, I've showed how you use those in the Panic in the Year Zero video for dealing with sort of wounds. We'll go on the left side here with the knife. These have zipper pulls too, which I really like because you don't have to fumble with the tiny little. This one has some gauze roll, and then sort of an ace bandage type tape for holding the gauze and other dressings, and sort of supporting an injured ankle or wrist or something like that, or knee. It can be used for all sorts of stuff. So this is some kind of bulky dressing for gauze. If anyone needs Coflex and don't want to pay $5 a roll, you can get it at the feed store. It's called Vet Wrap, and it's $2 to $3 a roll. Good tip. Thank you. What are the most common injuries you come across? I mean, the most common injuries are literally the most minor ones, obviously, and just cuts. I mean, probably the most common I've come across would be different types of joint injuries, like kickball and things like that, rolled ankles. So the cold compress that I have and some sort of wrapping would be useful. And then next to that, minor cuts and minor burns. Luckily, you don't come across serious injuries too often, but it's always a possibility. Calvin Supply is a good source for antibiotics. Interesting. So now we'll go on the right side of the bag here. And this, I have a complete individual trauma pack. And it's sort of a mini version of the entire kit just right there. So it has the quick clot, It has a bandage. It has some and it has, well, there you can see it on the back. Trauma pad, gloves, duct tape, bandage, triangular sterile gauze dressings, a conforming gauze, an antiseptic wipe, and a resealable bag for bio waste, or if you need to use it for a sucking chest wound or tension pneumothorax or something like that. So that's just a kind of a redundancy on the edge there. If I just need to grab one little thing. And then we can go into the inside main pouch here. What's up, Colorado Biker Prepper? So the main pouch, I have a stack of these surgical towels. These are not sterile, but they can be used to, you know, just put pressure on a wound, used to wipe things up if you need to, if you just need a rag for something, they're in there. The one thing I don't have in here, but again, because of the size, I have a few things I haven't left out, is I'm going to include, if I get a bigger bag or somewhere else in the car, is something to wash wounds with, like a wound wash. Whether that's sterile water is usually one of the best things. Do you recommend people with no training to pack trauma kit items? I've seen a couple of preppers with no training, yet car accidents, their kit was used by trained people. Yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea to have it, because there's only a couple things in here that you could really mess somebody up with if you didn't have any training. Like if an improperly applied tourniquet could hurt someone. That's fairly easy to learn, so I suggest people look it up. And also, if you're talking about a non-tryptophan scenario, ideally you should have people on the way. So a tourniquet is really only going to hurt someone. I mean, you could apply it not tight enough, and then they're still going to bleed out. But then they're certainly no worse off than if you didn't do anything. And the main risk is you apply it too tightly and or leave it on too long. Now, if there is like a car accident and you know the EMTs are on their way, that's not that much of a risk, because if it is too tightly, or it's, you know, you're not going to leave it on too long, because they're going to be there within hopefully 10 or 20 minutes. And if they are late, that's still probably better than not having a tourniquet on at all. So I definitely think everyone should still have one, and I don't think untrained people should have them, but I think that you should just get trained. So I think everyone should have one. Everyone should at least get, and I haven't had a bunch of training. I've done some training in the military, and just reading the instructions ahead of time, practicing once or twice, putting the tourniquet on yourself, on your leg or something like that, or on someone else, making sure you're doing it right, and just watching a couple videos is really all you need for the basic stuff that's in the kit. I don't have sutures in here. I don't have like nasal pharyngeals and all this other stuff. So it's pretty basic equipment, but it's just for serious wounds. So, and also the quick clot, you can burn someone with it if you, you know, apply too much or whatever, put it on a really deep gaping wound or something like that, and just dump quick clot in it. Saline wound wash, correct. Flesh wounds. Yeah, so your son could probably put a good one together for you if he's an Army medic. Trauma pack for up to 10 casualties on a motorcycle. Yeah, that's good for motorcycles especially, because you're going to have a higher chance of serious injuries from even minor accidents. So things like dealing with, obviously, with road rash, broken limbs, big cuts, and things like that. Right, and even if you don't know how to use them, it's never going to be a bad thing to have extra equipment there, because someone there might know how to use it. But I would suggest, you know, learning how to use this stuff. None of the stuff is that complicated. Oregon grapefruit powder is a great quick clot that doesn't burn like hell when you put it on. Good to know. Sanitary pads, yeah, you can get, that's another good thing. They don't take up a lot of space, but they still absorb a lot of blood. And obviously tampons are good just to have if a woman needs one, or they can be used for nosebleeds or even bullet holes and stuff if you don't have anything else. Is it true that quick clot has cutting applications to the skin? I'm not sure what you mean by cutting applications. So anyways, I have the surgical blankets in here just for padding, or if you need to make slings out of them and stuff like that. I have 2 packets of quick clot, a small and a medium-sized one. I have 2 hyphen chest seals for entry-exit wounds, kind of bullet wound if you need to. This actually came in the trauma kit. You have some stickers to put your time for the tourniquet was applied, a little bit of tape, and some casualty cards and a marker so you could mark out what is done to the person, the injuries you found, so that when someone else arrives on scene, they know exactly where they're at. They don't have to do the whole to realize maybe they have a puncture wound somewhere or something like that. Yeah, I'm not suggesting that you poke a tampon into like a bullet hole, but They can be used for if you have like a gag, they can be applied against it sideways, or like I said, plug it in your nose. If you have like a bullet hole in your chest, yeah, don't just like push a tampon into it. It's not going to do you much good. And then inside the kit here is a lot more minor stuff. I'm probably going to take it out of this for the reason I was just mentioning in the car, is that a firm kit like this or box like this takes up a lot more space than it needs to. This could be fairly compressed. So let's see what we got in here. So we have a couple gauze sponges, just basic gauze pads on the top. Some more there. Couple wet ones, wipes, regular tissues, always super commonly needed. Iodine swabs, adhesive tape. This has aspirin, Tylenol, and ibuprofen. The pills are all very different, luckily, so they're easy to tell apart. Otherwise, I would have them in separate containers. Some more foam. The one thing I also need is some like actual athletic tape to hold things on very well. These are pretty good. I don't have sutures in here because I'm not confident yet enough in my ability to correctly apply sutures, but these are the next best thing, are these like butterfly bandages for something that's not incredibly serious. Mini quick clot for small cuts and abrasions, maybe even shaving. Something, this little thing that just won't stop bleeding. You can put like this styptic powder on there. Marker if you need to write tourniquet times or anything else on somebody. It's a basic antibiotic ointment, Neosporin. A bunch of alcohol prep pads, disinfecting equipment or cleaning areas of skin, and then a few minor tools, including some tweezers, little scissors, and some curved, basically locking hemostats. But those can be very useful. So that's it. That's pretty much the whole kit there. You guys got to see all the good stuff. And like I said, there's a few things that I'm missing that just because of the size, I can't fit anything else in there. I'm going to get a bigger bag and probably include a few more kind of everyday items like some bug spray, some suntan lotion, chapstick, some dental floss, and emergency teeth brushing stuff. Because, when it comes down to it, that's the stuff that you end up using most often. The little bandages, the Tylenol and headache medication, stuff for minor scrapes, maybe put some moleskin in there and things like that. And then I have other kit for my car too that is not first aid related, and I'll go over that in a later video as well. There's a new type of butterfly bandage out that I just saw today. I don't know the name, but it has a plastic pull locks. It's really cool. I think I saw that, and it looked like it would be awesome provided that the adhesive actually works that well to do that. I would recommend having some petroleum gauze dressing for wound care afterwards. Keeps bandages from sticking to wounds. Yeah, even having just some petroleum jelly in there is a good idea too for chapped lips, minor things. Good stuff. I have to completely redo my first aid kit. Half my stuff in it is so old it's scary. Yeah, it's good to go through every once in a while. Now, most of the stuff, like the gauze and whatnot, that's going to be fine. It's the vials of any ointment and even like the alcohol prep pads and stuff. Well, technically alcohol doesn't expire. A lot of times they'll just slowly dry out. So if there's pads in there or the wet wipes and things like that, you go to open them up, and if they're 10 years old, they're not wet wipes anymore. They're just like a little kind of stiff Kleenex, which can still be useful, but is not going to serve the same purpose. Finger splints are not a bad idea, or the gloves, and they sell these individually, like the things that just go over your finger. It's like a finger condom, and you can just improvise those out of the latex gloves with the tape too, because if you get some sort of wound and you don't want it to get infected, or a lot of times it's just hard to put things on a finger. So, because right near a joint, any sort of bandage. So if you put the gauze there, then put that tightly over it, then it'll kind of hold it in place and keep stuff from getting in the wound. But wound wash is one of the things that's really important, specifically for car-related kits, and especially like a Colorado biker prepper mentioned, having a kit on hand for biking accidents. You're going to have fallen off a bike if you're in a related accident, and get a little bit of road rash and things like that. So there's usually going to be a lot of grit, sand, and stuff on and around the wound. and road rash type wounds where like a lot of skin is removed over kind of a large area, even if it's not deep. And you don't just want to put a bandage over a big abraded area that's full of crap. So having some sort of good wound wash is a useful tool. So that's what I need to have. Yeah, finger dam. Yeah, you could use an actual condom too. I mean, it would be pretty loose, but if they're not a bad idea to have in there for various reasons, you can do all sorts of stuff with them. I agree. I mean, that's true for anything. Colorado biker prepper. That the if you look around online, you can find almost anything cheaper online, and you can buy them in like not bulk, but in packs. Instead of buying them individually from Walmart or something like that, you get packs of 7 or 8, 10 of these things. Yeah, and especially like the fish antibiotic. Like, there's no reason to have antibiotics in a trauma kit, but for your regular preps and stuff like that, you can get the fish antibiotics and products like that. So I can't do too long today. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Someone gave this to me as a gift. It's a cold steel bow staff. Family member got this for me. Pretty cool. Use it as a walking stick. Oh, one of the things I forgot too that I didn't have in my doesn't fit in the kit, but I keep in the car. This is from BattleBox as well. It's a collapsible portable litter. So it's just a thick kind of like tarp canvas, plastic canvas kind of material that has handles, so that if you get multiple people, you can pick someone up and move them. Good if there's some sort of situation like even an injured animal that you got to get out of somewhere, or someone's injured pretty badly and their vehicle's maybe starting to catch on fire and you need to get them away from the area and you don't want to just drag them. Obviously, in a super emergency, you would just grab them and drag them. You need to be strong enough to do that. But maybe they're huge. Maybe they're 300 pounds, and you can't even do that by yourself. So you got to put them on, get a couple people to help you. And this is a lot better than just trying to drag them or pick up a floppy body. Just roll them onto this. It's so flat that, you don't have to lift them up like you would onto a normal stretcher. You can just lay it on the ground, kind of roll them or drag them onto that, and then have a few people pick it up and carry them. That can be exhausting work, though, if you've never done it before, to carry up somebody in a litter. And it's really hard on your hands, because we've had to do that for different sorts of PT sessions and things, and little circuit training events that we've done in the military, where you like push a Humvee 50 feet, your squad has to do it. Then you have to carry this guy in a litter for 100 yards or whatever. That will smoke the shit out of you. If you haven't done it, like a race where you're carrying people in the litter and then you have people swap out. So like one guy jumps on the litter then, and then, yeah. And it's because it's multiple people doing it too. So sometimes somebody's arms are shorter and they'll end up carrying more of the weight, because the weight hits their arms first before it gets to those gorilla armed motherfuckers who just are in the back. And then if your hands aren't used to it and your grip strength, it'll start cutting into your hands. So it's stuff that you need to experience to get a feel for it. Pricing IFAX right now. How's the fishing kit coming along? Very good. The problem that I'm running into is I'm trying to get a cheap way. I'm almost done. The cheaper way to make spools like this, to buy them directly like this, that I can put in the kit, as opposed to buying the whole spool and making them myself, because that'll take a long ass time. But that's what I'll do if I need to. See what else we got. Pricing IFAX. I'm going to get a dog backpack. Yeah, I need to get one of those too. And because you're going to be bringing supplies for them, so there's no reason why they can't carry at least their own supplies, if not potentially a little more, depending on the size of your dog and how many supplies you're planning on bringing for them and whatnot. My dog is pretty big. He's 75 or 75 to 85 pounds. And so he should be able to carry at least all his own equipment. The ones that are sold usually contain the crappiest, cheapest components. You're much better off making your own. I agree. With very few exceptions, the kits of most kind for first aid stuff are very basic, and they're not a good deal even for that equipment that they come with. And there's some exceptions, but you're probably still not going to get a good deal per se. They're going to be more complete. I know there are some people like the Skinny Medic channel. He sells one of his own, I believe, but I haven't taken a really close look at what it is or how much it costs. But I know he has like a first aid kits. So I'm going to try to find his shop. Yeah, so he's got a trauma bag. He's got the patches, the pouches. Let's see if he's got the complete kits. Large first aid, active shooter kit, 3. So he has, yeah, and his are like $320. So they're probably totally legit, but they're still not necessarily cheaper than if you got all the parts individually. You have a Skinny Medic kit, good deal. So I have no doubt that it's incredibly legit, but you're going to pay for, you know, you get what you pay for. Yeah, so he's got the SWAT T tourniquet that I mentioned. He's got those cards, the gauze. He's got a litter too. He's got the other type of tourniquet with the stick on. I forget what they call that. Yeah, his looks legit. The hype bag. He's got a lot of the same stuff, just more of it and more stuff. So if you don't want to try and source all that stuff yourself, get one of those. They look definitely legit. Theoretical 1K budget. How much gold, silver versus preps? I mean, it depends on where you're at with your preps right now. I wouldn't get any gold and silver until you have at least your basic 30 to 90 day just basic level preps taken care of. And then after that, I would want your $1,000 emergency fund, preferably just in cash, taken care of. Then I would be worried, focusing on gold and silver, because gold and silver is not necessarily a prep in the same way. It's a way to put your money, a place to put your money that will store its value. So if you're not worried about extra money and having to have something to do with it, then you don't need to be worried about gold and silver. The school bus one at Amazon with all the cool stuff is awesome. First aid kit. I haven't seen that one. Hyphen vents. Yeah. I have a dog backpack for my mutt so he can carry all his own stuff and a bit more. Just get your dog used to walking with it and make sure it fits them right. Yeah, and make sure they're used to it, like you said, because a lot of dogs will kind of freak out and try to get out of it, and they'll wig out, and they won't be able to be normal with it, at least at first. Same with like shoes and everything. Who do you recommend on YouTube for medical kit building? Like I mentioned, Skinny Medic, he's talked about it. The Analytical Survival, who is an absolute magnificent bastard in terms of how like analytical and organized he is. He was a special forces medic as well, and he has an amazing. His kit probably would cost you like $1,500, but it's fucking amazing. And yeah, so those are both good. But yeah, Skinny Medic's a decent one. That's the only ones I can think of by name. But the Analytical Survival is just a maniac with how organized and just structured everything is. And his kit was. Let me see if I can find it. So we got. He hasn't been too prolific lately. Dark Angel, haven't heard of that one, but you can check it out. If pickle barrels, the blue ones would be safe for water storage. Yeah, if they've had food in it, they'll be safe for the most part, unless you're allergic to whatever the food item is. The problem, a lot of them are still going to have BPA containing plastics. So, you know, it is what it is. But for emergency supplies, that's, you know, usually that's just what you're going to have to put up with. Because most things have BPA in them, most plastics. The problem that you have with stuff like pickle barrels is it takes a lot of work to completely eliminate the smell and the taste out of the water. That's not a problem. It's not going to be bad for you, you know, in an emergency situation. But if you don't like pickles or vinegar or something like that, be careful, because it's going to linger in there for a long time. AR-500 also has decent kits. Good to know. Skinny, oh my God, that's a lot of blood, medic. Yeah, let me see the Analytical Survival. His channel is awesome, but he's kind of insane. He's like Monk, basically, in how organized he is. Let's see. I forget what he called his video. But I know he was an SF medic, I think. His tactical medical bag for a medium-sized group. Yeah. It's fantastic. His is like surgical level, and like it probably cost you, like I said, like $1,500, $2,000, something like that. I don't know if he mentions it in the video, but yeah. He said it's not purchased pre-assembled. Rather, I researched and purchased each item individually, and it's one of the most like complete and thorough that I've ever seen. So go to Analytical Survival. It's called Tactical Medical Bag. Burn ointment's important too. Yeah. Medium-sized group. It's a legendary medical bag, and his organization is impeccable and obviously kind of intimidating. It makes it seem impossible. Like if you see his rooms and everything set up, it's definitely goals. Prepping #prepping goals. Yeah, thanks, Kanzi, for putting that on there. Will vinegar keep water from going stagnant, aka bleach will? I'm not sure. The bleach just keeps any sort of undesirable microbes and organisms from it, and that's basically what stagnation is in this sense. And like I always tell people, though, my plan is to purify the water again when I take it out to purify or filter it. So if it's tap water or bottled water, I wouldn't be that concerned as long as you're putting it in a container that has limited light so that different types of algae and stuff won't grow. Stuff coming out of the tap has already been, even just your garden hose, it's already been treated. It's already been probably slightly chlorinated or treated for any of these things. So you can drink it right out of the tap. You can put it in a container right out of the tap and then just be ready to treat it again, years later. Because if you put more bleach in it and then let it sit for 6 to 8 years, you would need the bleach. The efficacy of the bleach is worn off at that point anyway. So if there was a breach that you don't know about, or if something got in the water before you would still need to treat it again. I have a clear non-prescription contact lens in case of eye injury in my first aid kit. Not a bad idea. What kind of meds to treat the flu when there's no medical help available? All you can do with flu and colds is treat the symptoms unless you have like Tamiflu or something like that. So you just have to have stuff for treating the fever, and which is the more important thing. The most dangerous part of the flu for the most part, unless you get into different types of like antibiotics and stuff like that. But for the like I said, for the flu, most of the time you just have to treat the symptoms. One of my favorites is clove oil works again naturally. Thanks. Yep, good to go. Yeah, so check out that analytical survival 18-minute video on his massive group first aid kit from a special forces medic. It's legit. It's like a full backpack, and it's everything short of like an operation room. I would definitely want this guy taking care of me. Colloidal silver, have that. Yeah, silver in general has antiseptic properties, or antibacterial properties rather. We got some of this from one of the battle boxes too. It's some colloidal silver. But this I mostly was doing it from the perspective of the car kit. So you guys watch or make sure you watch our latest Prepper Trifecta videos for the 10 group rules. We've all done those now. They've been up for a day or two. And it's interesting to see, again, what we got similar and what we had different, as always. And we'll be talking about that in 2 weeks. We have another video coming out on Saturday that we're all going to do. And then the live stream will be the Sunday a week from then. Who's watching the moon tonight? It's supposed to be a blood moon or something. I don't remember what's going on tonight. You can use life jackets to make splints, tourniquets. Very handy when you just look at all the attachments. Yeah, they've got firm foam. You could put it on either side of a limb, things like that. Oh, an eclipse. Interesting. Lunar eclipse. Child car seats. Yeah, anything with that much straps and everything can be used for stabilization. Looks like New England's up 2 touchdowns for those who are interested. Someone was a Patriots fan in here earlier. The next movie that I'm doing a review of is most likely, well, I got 2. I've already watched The Domestics and Goodbye World, so it'll be one of those 2. So if you guys are interested in those movie reviews, go watch those movies because those are the ones that I'm going to be doing the reviews on next. The Domestics and Goodbye World. It's a super moon. Cool deal. All right, guys. Well, I'm probably going to pack it up pretty soon. I need to go to the grocery store, get some real food so I don't go out to eat. Can you do a movie review on I.O.? Is that I.O. or IQ? It looks like I.O. I.O. Messick's cracked me up. Yes, it was funny. There's still some lessons that can be learned. It's one of the more realistic or unrealistic, kind of Road Warrior type movies. So there's less that can be learned from that, but there's definitely still some things that you could, look at and learn from about that. But it is a lot more fun, goofy, post-apocalyptic craziness than something like Goodbye World. Goodbye World was one of the most frustrating shit the fan movies that I've ever watched due to the idiocy and the soy boyness of all the main characters. Pretty bad. Want to see Solar Cooking too? Yeah, I'm going to be doing some more of that. My Sun Oven, that's coming up. Take care, Humongous and Peeps. Thanks for stopping by, Ravens Files. The I.O. movie. A young scientist searches for a way to save a dying Earth. She finds a connection with a man who's racing to catch the last shuttle off the planet. Interesting. This is a, oh, it just came out. Anthony Mackie, that's who it is. And who's that girl? I don't know who that is. I'll check it out at some point once I get through these two. Will says IO sucked. Make some bread in the solar oven. I don't really eat bread. I could do it for an experiment, but I don't like making bread. IO was pretty good. It's not bad on the production value as well. Good to know. Is it on? Oh, it's a Netflix one. Okay, so that makes it easy. I'll check it out. Like I said, I got 2 others that I got to go through. Planet is filled with toxic air, and the humans have to abandon the planet, but one woman stays behind. Solar cookies. All right, yeah, I'll hit some more sun up and stuff. It's been really fun. The problem is that, and this is stuff that, this is why you need to practice, because you figure stuff out like this. It's not a big problem, but it's a consideration. At this time of year, the sun goes way, way down in the sky, comparatively speaking. And because of the way my house is situated and that some trees and the neighbors have and stuff, it cuts down on the area of my backyard that gets any sun for any significant amount of time. So I have to structure it a lot more, or schedule it a lot more rigorously than I would in summer when you have 18 hours of blazing sun, basically. Yeah, probably stew or soup is the next thing I'm going to do. I have some stew mixes or some of these pasta mixes, even from Legacy Foods, that I still need to do a taste test on. So that's probably will be some of the next items in the solar oven. So yeah, that's pretty good. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Like I said, remember to check out the Prepper Trifecta videos that me, JJ Johnson, and Shay have done, Reality Survival and Prepper Logic channels, for the top 10 group rules. I kind of cheated because I was having a real struggle coming up with 10. So my last rule was to listen to a lot of Sabaton, which will make you awesome, but it's not really a legit rule. But then JJ cheated by having an 11. So, you know, maybe I'll take one of his extra. You see, yeah, exactly, yeah. But you had too many rules, so I say it evens out. And you said Shay kind of split one rule too. So I'll think up of one more rule before the live chat. How about that? But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.